The bitter air warms as you near the stone monument. You are relieved of the past's nightmares and the future's burdens. All that matters is now. The statue appears to almost as you touch her. The statue appears to almost... Your eyes close. Death's...
My eyes! On account of you being ugly, I mean.
How fares the hunt, my friend?
He smiles brightly and pulls you in for a short, if warm, embrace.
You've done me proud, Godwoken. Prouder than you could ever realize. I know how twisted the paths can get. How much more alluring the sunny glade than the rock-strewn hollows. But you know it's the darkest roads that lead to light. The nature of my lesson, though, might be somewhat different from what you expect. I can deepen your bond with the Source, but you must realize that this bond comes at a cost. All life, after all, sustains itself by consumption. Like the grass feeds the herd, and the herd feeds the hunter, so you must feed, for instance, on these.
He waves a hand to the cage in demonstration.
The very same. For the sum of source that flows through their festering flesh is more than enough to expand the sum that is yours. Through demise, a chance of divinity. Are you ready? Then let us begin.
Jahan's incantations befog your mind. All of you is thumping blood, pumping, pumping, pumping. Then, all you hear, then all that is screaming. From the cage to you, their blood in your ears, screaming. Silence.
That is all. Their suns have set to serve a greater dawn. The world awaits your true awakening. You are very powerful already. A master of the Source. But I did not let this burst of power go to waste. It lies condensed on parchment for you to read and learn.
He hands you a book, hot to the touch, a sparkle with sauce.
My pleasure. And now that the lesson has ended, there is one more matter I would like to discuss. You see, the demon that you killed, the Advocate, he had a master. You might say the Advocate compared to his master, like the pussycat compares to the tiger. It is the tiger I am truly hunting. Now, don't you worry. I have no intention of sending you after this archdemon. There are few enough God-woken as it stands for me to force them into any real danger. The one thing I would like you to do for me, though, is to return through the mist to the Isle of Blood and uncover there his name. A demon's true name is its weakness, which is why it basks in being known by 1,000 different aspects of its inmost self. But such dark magic was wrought upon Blood Moon Island that its inmost self must have been there in its true guise, exposed so that it could wreak ultimate havoc. That is when its name must have been spoken. And when spoken, heard over there among the blood. In the darkness of the ruins, amid the mangled dead, his name still rings, however faint. For once spoken, the echo of a demon's name never truly fades. Return to the island, Godwoken, and listen.
Before you, a statue. As you step closer to the statue, you feel the most comforting warmth emanating from her.
Saints. I ne'er dreamed I'd be grateful to be lying cold on the ground. I'm finally rid of that demon. Finally rid of that bloody voice. Not much more than you've been told, I'm afraid. She made a deal with some mighty dark forces, and now she's looking for a way out. I'm not sure that even my voice knew the terms. It was all very hush. Suspicion is she's promised to give up something powerful, though.
The tree's spirit embraces its putrid host, an elven ancestor lost to the same demonic disease that infests all of Blood Moon Island.
Qui manducad omnio murdus ex, it quot potest etse.
Your hand passes through the spirit to rest against the corrupted ancestor. It is rough to the touch, save the pustules dotted across the bark. Yet there is nothing to divine but rough bark and swollen pustules. You cannot say which elf spirit inhabits this tree, or how it came to suffer its second death. A moment passes, then you feel it. Clarity.
You speak my name. You know my torture. Please, don't judge me for the sickness my roots have spread. I can be free. My soul cleansed. The demon has gone, but I am still its slave. While it lives, I am bound by its shackles to this humble plane. Yet you awakened me from nightmare with a single utterance, my name, and I'm grateful for that. How amazing that a name can wield so much power. Remember this lesson when you leave Blood Moon Island. The demon blackens another land now. It possesses the very doctor that liberated it. Speak its name, however, and you expose it. You weaken it. You'll know him when you find him. A doctor that accommodates a demon doesn't see patients, only victims. Destroy it, and you free me to the Hall of Echoes. Destroy it, and my roots taint this isle no longer. Now come closer. I'll say the demon's name only once.
The spirit's voice is a harsh whisper.
Adramalik. Naivety. Stupidity. Call it what you want. I wished to put the source within me to good use, and demonology seemed as good a use as any. Silly me. I meant to summon an imp or two. Instead, I ended up hosting a damned archdemon. The roaring in my head. The craving for living flesh. Urges. Good gods, the urges to kill. To hurt. The stronger they became, the harder I fought. And at some point, I was just gone. Deadened, but not dead. And then, awake. On an isle I'd never been. Encircled by faces I'd never seen. Watched by a man I'd never known. They called him Doctor. He shouted strange words, and the demon bellowed. Then, one by one, They fell. I watched my own hands slaughter them. I tried to resist, but I couldn't. And then a final roar, when the demon rushed away and into the only one still standing. The doctor. That was my last living memory. The demon may be gone, but its disease still infects my roots, birthing evil into the surrounding soil. While it lives, I am still its rotting servant. I've suffered. The Isle has suffered, but you can end it.
The spirit looks around with wild panic, clawing through its spectral mass with fevered nails.
The demon feeds. The demon feeds from the ring. The demon protects. We must know what the demon protects. The demon has an advocate. The advocate kills. The demon has a secret. We must know the secret.
Odd old thing, isn't it?
The great forge is black with a soot of ancient work. Inside is a casting for an ornate handle, flecked with glittering bits of silver. A ghostly aura rises from the butchered corpses, half-formed impressions of panic, fear, and pain. No single voice rises from the cacophony, perhaps thankfully.
The howling. How can you bear it?
The spirit cocks his head and covers his ears, hoping to muffle screams that only he can hear.
The ancestor tree. The screams came to me on the wind, though I am not sure the devil's breath that perturbs the air here can rightly be called wind. But they've been silenced. A druid. There are too few of us. Elf kind finds value in flesh where memory lingers. I collect memories, yes, but I am more keen on bark and leaf. On the living breeze, not the sleeping past. Well, yes. I have kept my ears to the ground, ghostly they may be. This is an archive, a library devoted to history and scholarship. There must be a record there of the elf that spawned the corrupted tree. I can't say where its entrance lays. The whispers that speak of the archive are all but drowned by my ancestors' grief.
The statue is a striking sight, a sizzling blue totem on a blood-red isle. Even stranger, a shard of polished iron peeks from under the statue's base. There's something hidden beneath this massive sculpture. Looking closer, you notice the statue's clerical garb, so similar to that worn by the ghostly priests bonded to the isle. An unlikely coincidence. The bitter air warms as you near your eyes.
Sister, help me, please! Isn't it obvious? Some thoughtless fool buried me in this grave like some common human. I can't be at peace in a place like this. I have to be put to rest according to lizard tradition. The eternal fire burns in the lizard quarter of the cemetery. I beg you, cast my remains into the fire. Set my spirit free. I will never know peace otherwise. Isn't helping your kin enough for you? Fine. Do as I wish, and I'll see that you are rewarded.
These must be the remains of that lizard spirit, just as he said.
My remains have still not been consumed by the eternal fire. Only then can I...
It's hard not to feel some pride in reptilian engineering. I watched an elf spend hours trying to force his way into a lizard's chest. Eventually, he threw it into the flames. But still it sits there, indestructible. He did not leave empty-handed, unfortunately. I pity the poor salamander that he dragged back to his ghastly home.
You have done me a great service, friend. Now, the Hall of Echoes beckons.
Pure grace in an undeserving world. The spirit.
An undead elf steps from the shadows. He looks powerful, but when he speaks, he is in pain.
Welcome, Godwoken, to your grave. I promise you, decay. I decay. But if I serve, I grow again. I shall serve him. You must die. He is my friend. He is your king. He wants your decay. You rot here, Godwoken. We all rot.
The spirit looks angry. You have been a spirit for a very long time indeed. This afterlife has been spent resisting the pull of the ancestor tree that wants your source. You've always hated the scion of the tree for seeking your destruction. Once he served the hated mother tree. You hate her too, but now the scion has taken a darker path. But he still wants your source. Relief flows through you as a realization grows. You may leave. The spirit slips away. The spirit looks forlorn, exhausted, spent. Nothing remains of the life you led. The long years after death, resisting the tree as it tried to take your source, have left you with little more than an overwhelming sense of betrayal. Relief flows through you. The spirit slips away. A wave of relief washes off the spirit, relief tempered with disgust. You are an elven spirit. Who you were in life is now forgotten. You have spent the years resisting the pull of the ancestor tree. It would steal your source. This source you would gladly give to the mother tree. But not this traitor. This scion has betrayed the elves. This scion has taken a darker path. This scion wants your source for someone or something else. This, you think, is what happens when the scions don't get proper training. Relief flows through you as you realize that you may leave. Your thoughts flash to the mother tree by the water on an island with no name. The spirit slips away.
locked in perpetual prayer. Keep trying, my friend. I've no tolerance for such crassness.
We were picked off by spies. There was no glory and no point to it either.
We are an inspiration to our people.
We're an example.
In death, the dwarves give eagles life. An elegant passing for an inelegant people.
The spirit is dressed in tattered ceremonial garb. Eagle feathers tangle in his beard, and bird droppings decorate his robes. He surveys the circling flock with evident satisfaction.
We were picked off by spies. There was no glory and no point to it either.
We are an inspiration to our people.
We're an example.
Plenty of souls will rest easier now that Riker's dead. Not all, but plenty. You're God-woken, ain't you? You've a certain something about your aura. Don't ask me why. But someone out there's got it in for you and everyone like you.
Two dwarven spirits at loggerheads. In a flash, you are both of them, brother and sister. Your feminine side is a rebel, rising up against the tyrannical queen. Your masculine side is a royalist, loyal to the monarch he loves. As the brother, you rescue your sister from the pikes of the Royal Guard. Together, you flee across the sea to the melting pot of Driftwood and Reaper's Coast. But in Driftwood, you visit the lizard. You are the sister, and you know that something is wrong. You climb the stairs to rescue your brother, and find him fighting for his life against the dwarves who would rob him. Both of you die. But your killers do right by their fellow dwarves, and bring you here to lay you to rest. As spirits, you fight for eternity, one convinced that the Queen is a tyrant, the other that your treason was wrong. The sister smiles. She feels vindicated. Her brother still does not agree. The rebellion was a disaster. The rebellion was a mistake that cost them their lives.
The rain's sweeter, knowing that freak of an elf won't stalk these cobbles no more.
The eagle glowers at you balefully, with eyes like shiny little buttons. One manicured and beribboned claw shoots forth to claim the stringy offal before him. Stretching his neck forward, he peers closely at you.
Pretty eyes, eyes that see far.
The eagle's own eyes glitter with avarice.
Master tied them on. Pretty, pretty ribbons. Match my pretty claws. Match your pretty eyes.
Peck, peck, peck. The eagle pecks free some choice lump of gristle from deep within the corpse. He swallows it whole, dark blood dripping from his beak and matting the fluffy feathers at his throat.
Master died, but Master told me what to do. All my life told me you are what you eat. So I do. I will become the Master. Unless you are not the new Master, are you?
We were picked off by spies. There was no glory and no point to it either.
We are an inspiration to our people.
We're an example.
The new Master must first partake of the old Master. Only then.
You chew it for what seems like forever, yet the texture does not change in your mouth. Tough yet moist, leathery yet slippery. It's disgusting. Sometimes you really wonder about how you make choices in life. Sometimes, like now. The eagle hops from claw to claw, peering up at you with a berserk and bird-like excitement.
See? Feel it? The power!
A hacking claw breaks free from his ebony beak. Those little button eyes seem to twinkle in the gloom.
Yes, kidney. Good for courage, good for warrior. You will fight well, now Master's blood runs within you. Featherfall is with you. Together, we go together from here.
Featherfall hops eagerly onto your shoulder and digs his claws in deep. He pecks your cheek in what could charitably be called an affectionate manner. Blood drips from the wound. At least he didn't go for your eyes.
We died glorious deaths.
We were picked off by spies. That was no
Biting
glory.
deep into the rotting flesh, your senses are assailed with a rank odor of meat long past its prime. Your memory wavers and becomes not your own, but the memory of one who led the most solitary of lives. You see myriad wings flapping, your hand scattering birdseed. You hear the screeching of eagles, the tearing of flesh. All of your life is centered on this place, this pedestal of death. All of your life is dedicated to feeding your eagles the meat of your dearly departed people. The lizard hums loudly and happily.